We must begin with a solemn warning. 10 years ago, the lights went out in Paris and the world watched in stunned horror. This isn't just about a historical event, it's about the lessons Europe failed to learn. That night, 130 lives were extinguished in the name of Islamist jihad. On November 13, 2015, terror struck simultaneously across Paris. Run archival footage. At the Stade de France, suicide bombers attempted mass casualty among football fans. But the true horror unfolded at the Bataclan concert hall, where 90 people were systematically gunned down. Detail the coordinated nature of the attacks and the calculated brutality of the hostage situation. The immediate revelations were staggering. Some attackers were returning ISIS fighters who had boasted they could travel freely across Europe. Others arrived posing as refugees. The failure was immediate and systemic. We stood in solidarity, changing our profile pictures to the French flag, but we missed the essential message. This was a wake-up call that was ignored. 10 years later, what did Britain learn? We allowed more than 400 ISIS fighters to return to the UK. This decision continues to fuel the debate around individuals like Shamima Begum, who reportedly aided suicide bombers, yet remains a subject of intense public debate about her right to return. Expand the Shamima Begum legal debate. The irony is stark. Citizenship is stripped based on the heritage of parents, the potential for dual citizenship, not on the commission of terror or crime. This legal loophole creates a system where UK-born terrorists' fate depends on where their father was born decades ago. Should a British-born citizen who joins a foreign terror group automatically lose their citizenship, regardless of their parents' heritage? Why or why not? The failures in Paris were quickly mirrored on British soil. The son of Libyan refugees, Salman Abedi, murdered 22 people, many of them children, after an Ariana Grande concert. Expand on the pre-attack warnings and the failure of the security services to act despite clear family ties to extremism. Khalid Massoud's attack on Westminster Bridge was followed by the Borough Market carnage involving Karam Butt, who was featured in the documentary The Jihadi Next Door. He was known to security services. He had unfurled an ISIS flag in Regent's Park. How could a known extremist, openly promoting jihad, be on the streets? Usman Khan murdered 2 young people working for a rehabilitation charity. The critical failure. Khan was a convicted terrorist who managed to convince authorities he was de-radicalized and was released on license. This highlights the absolute lunacy of believing a few weeks with a right-on psychologist can erase years of ideological commitment. From the Reading attacks to the recent Manchester synagogue attack, the pattern is consistent. An Islamist ideology, often tied to individuals with known extremist links, targeting civilians. The attacker at the synagogue even had the literal name jihad. Considering the Fishmongers Hall attack, what specific criteria should be non-negotiable before a convicted terrorist is ever released from prison? While Britain was dealing with its own attacks, continental Europe offered more chilling warnings. The Berlin Christmas market attack, 2016, and the horrific truck attack in Nice, France, 2016. We saw the chaos, yet we still failed to police our own cultural red lines. Expand this account dramatically. A secondary school teacher in Batley Grammar School showed a caricature of the Prophet Muhammad in a religious studies lesson. The reaction was not dialogue, but a Muslim mob calling for his death, forcing him into permanent hiding. The true betrayal? The school and authorities failed to defend him, bowing to the mob's demands. The signal sent was clear. Extremist demands trump free expression. Detail the incident involving the mother of the autistic child. The humiliation of a mother being forced to apologize at a mosque because her autistic son accidentally scuffed a copy of the Quran reveals a deep societal imbalance where fear outweighs common sense and the defense of the vulnerable. Expand the segment on police outreach. We now see police forces prioritizing cultural appeasement, officers delivering salam alaikum greetings and seeking validation from community elders. While engagement is important, a record number of Islamists are on terror watch lists, and yet authorities seem to spend more time focusing on claims of Islamophobia than confronting actual Islamist terrorism. The proliferation of armed police at Christmas markets and the installation of bollards of peace lining pavements serves as a physical, constant reminder that we have fundamentally failed to secure our public spaces from ideological terror. The PREVENT program, meant to stop radicalization, is critically flawed. The sheer lunacy of believing a short course can undo years of ideological commitment, as evidenced by the London Bridge and fishmongers' hall attacks, proves its inadequacy. The system is not fit for purpose because it avoids focusing on the primary threat, Islamist terrorism. Cite known issues where PREVENT flagged non-extremists while missing actual terror threats. Expand on the link between uncontrolled immigration and terror threats. Uncontrolled immigration, as seen by the influx of fake refugees and the ease with which returning fighters moved, creates an intelligence nightmare. Security services must get lucky every single day. Terrorists only need to get lucky once. The refusal of political figures to prescribe certain extremist groups, and the failure to challenge open displays of extremism during marches, has emboldened these movements. They feel they can operate with impunity, burning MP offices and threatening elected officials. This environment directly contributes to the risk of violence. The refusal of 150 French schools to participate in the silence after the Paris attacks highlights a fundamental integration crisis across Europe. Extremism and a rejection of liberal values are flourishing in pockets of our society, and authorities are too polite or too frightened to intervene. 10 years on from the Bataclan, we are a nation of sitting ducks. We have a record number of extremists monitored by security services, and yet we see political and cultural figures continually retreating from the confrontation. We are still paying the price for the cultural cowardice that fears being labelled Islamophobic more than it fears the next terror attack. The fact remains, the vast majority of actual terror attacks in the UK have been carried out by Islamist extremists. Until we stop deflecting resources and political energy away from the central threat, we are simply waiting for the next tragedy to unfold. You dedicated 8 minutes of your time to this difficult, necessary, and often censored truth. You watched this full analysis because you believe that honesty and accountability are the only way to safeguard our streets and protect our children. But if you haven't subscribed, then you are part of the vast majority who consume this crucial information but fail to support the fight for it. If you genuinely believe that the failures of the last 10 years must be confronted, and that these critical security debates should not be silenced by political fear, you must hit that subscribe button now. Don't just nod along to the truth, empower it. Subscribe and join the community that refuses to forget the victims of Paris and refuses to wait quietly for the next one. Subscribe now and make your stand for national security.